This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Imaginary Stories. Kelly Nelson here, joined as always by my partner, Johnny Sorrow. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really looking forward to today's show as we dive headfirst into a somewhat forgotten 80s, I call it a classic, but a definite interesting experiment that DC did during their last attempt at a boom period before wiping it all clean with the Crisis. And this was a period where there was a lot of hot titles and stuff going on and experiments, and this was one of them. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've already explored this era of DC a couple times. This is early 80s
Yep.
DC. We looked at the New Teen Titans. We looked at All-Star Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back again for Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew.
Yep.
Quite the comic book. Yeah, I guess we have to come up with animal pun names for ourselves.
Oh, Jesus.
Johnny.
Well,
I think yours is easy, I think.
Well, if we're going to go by my real last name, then
Okay.
yeah, definitely. It was a name I got. My real last name is Hedgepeth. So
Right.
Hedgehog was a thing I was taunted with like in the first grade. So I'd have to be Johnny Hedgehog, I guess.
Johnny Hedgehog. I was thinking also Johnny Sparrow, if we went
Oh,
with
there
the
you go.
Sorrow route.
There you go.
I couldn't think of one for myself until coming home from work today. Finally it dawned on me that I'm Celephant Nelson.
Oh, very good.
Is that yeah?
That
That
was
was-
as good as I could. As you can see in Captain Carrot, sometimes the attempts at an animal pun name were a swing and a miss.
Yeah, I think Celephant Nelson is a swing and a miss name. Yes, they
But
were
good tries.
Yeah, they were often quite awkward, as we'll see. So yeah, this is like we said, a very interesting comic. It was a short-lived series, only 20 issues, the first run in the early 80s. As we always do, before we get into it, we always sort of talk about our personal connection with the comic. Johnny, what was your personal connection?
I had a major personal connection with this comic book because it came out when I was about 12, and this was at the beginnings of the heights of my comic book geekdom fandom was this period of time. So over at Marvel, you had Spider-Man being awesome, X-Men being awesome, Thor was on its way within a few years, and various other books. And over at DC, you had Teen Titans, All-Star Squadron, and a bunch of The New Adventures of Superboy was a really good book. Legion of Superheroes was hot as hell, and things were happening. And this was, again, one of those books they previewed with a special 16-page insert into a hot book. That's how they launched them. And this was an issue of Teen Titans.
Yes.
Which guaranteed everyone was going to read it because Teen Titans was the hottest book right after X-Men. It was DC's hottest book by far.
Yes.
And the second hottest book in the country following X-Men, and it was very close there. And I fell in love with the concept, number one, and that it was basically, this is the multiverse, the DC multiverse.
Yep.
And they introduce it with Superman's in it. So it's a world of the funny animals. And me being a hardcore collector at the time, I would get lots of Golden Age books whenever I could find them, no matter what they were or worth anything. So I was familiar with some of the DC funny animal universe, which was forgotten about, but was a selling point at one point as backup features, and wasn't all superheroes. You had the Frog and the Dodo, you had Peter Porkchops, and various other ones, Bo Bunny, and this was their world. And they at first just like it's animals that walk around and like cartoon animals, but it's an actual world where this exists. And Superman ends up there. We'll get into all that, but I just bought into it right away. I thought it was funny. I thought at one point the writing and the art was outstanding. And I was like, wow, these were like funny but adventures that I'm like sucked into the actual plots and adventures they're on. It was silly, but it was also serious as far as like the adventures go. And it had 2-parters and all that.
Yeah.
And the art of Scott Shaw, one of the co-creators, is what really sucked me in. It was so good. The style, and I fell in love with his art style, still am to this day. And the fact that I was entering puberty, and I will admit this freely. Scott Shaw drew the female characters in the Zoo Crew, Ali Cadabra and Yankee Poodle, because they were anthropomorphized around.
Yeah.
So they had tits and asses along with being animals, and the way Scott Shaw drew Ali Cadabra was fucking hot. And this was before the internet, kids. Porn was hard to come by. Okay? You had to choose what turned you on with what was available. And it was George Perez's art in Teen Titans, John Byrne's art in X-Men and Fantastic Four, and you're like, okay, this is what I got. This is the Sears catalog. And Ali Cadabra was hot, and Yankee Poodle was pretty smoking herself, the way they were drawn. And I freely admit that I abused myself to them. It's a shock I'm not a furry.
Wow, stunning revelation right off the bat.
I was going to say, do I save it? Do I even mention that? But no, this is a show of honesty. And I'm being fucking honest. It was, and joking aside, they were drawn sexy.
Yes.
Which was an odd choice for something aimed at children.
Yeah. But
really aimed at people my age.
Yeah.
As you would see in the letters columns of these, which are glorious, of 12-year-olds trying to write like they're in their 20s. So being overly preposterous with and wordy, trying to sound like intellectuals. It's hilarious.
Right.
And I just fell in love with it. And I had my ups and downs with it, and we'll talk about that because of the art fluctuations of the book and the quality due to deadline problems. But by the time it was over, I was sad it was over. But then when they announced what they were going to do next, I was so hyped. But I never could find it and fell out of comics and didn't find it. We'll talk about what that was. Yeah. That was a miniseries that didn't come out until I was done with comics, and I found them years and years and years and years later in a bargain bin and in my 30s and got to read that adventure. But so yeah, it was at that perfect age, like everything in the back of those books. Because when DC was one of their big gimmicks was anniversary issues. And they put this big golden thing as an anniversary, and they would go all out. And there was right around this time, the advertisement, the Detective Comics anniversary, which was this awesome story which introduced Jason Todd.
Right.
Where Killer Croc was the villain, and every Batman villain was in it. There was the Superman anniversary that revamped Luthor and Brainiac, where Luthor got the battle suit and Brainiac became a full robot. There was the Legion one. There was Adventure Comics Digest, which had reprints mainly of Silver Age Legion of Superheroes stories. There's so much around this time, and so I was in on almost everything DC was putting out except for Arik, Son of Thunder, Arion, and Night Force, but all their new things, and one of which actually it was introduced in an ad at the end of this run was a 12-issue maxi series. I love that. I would love for us to dig up one day and talk about. Was Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld, which was outstanding in its day. So DC was doing a lot of quality shit here, but as we'll see, some didn't succeed or didn't succeed enough. Yeah,
I did collect Arak. I remember definitely following that one for a few issues. Well, I was going to ask you if you were a Yankee Poodle man or an Alley Cadabra man. So
gotta go with it.
We'll save that until later.
Okay, well, you gotta go. I can tell you gotta go with Alley Cadabra.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree.
But, maybe you're a Farrah Fawcett.
Yes,
guy.
She made quite a few appearances throughout the series.
Especially the creepiest thing that as a kid I thought it was kind of hot, but I saw it again recently and it creeped me out. Was someone did fan art.
Yes,
and sent it in. They printed it of the classic Farrah Fawcett poster.
Yes,
as Farrah Fawcett, but instead drawn cartoony style like this is. Yeah, it's as realistic as it could possibly be, and and I was like, even I didn't jerk off to that. That was too much. That was too much.
You prefer your funny animals more on the funny.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not a weirdo.
Oh, that's great. So I was probably about 4 or 5 when this series started. I don't know if I was in right from the beginning with them or not. Like a lot of the early issues, Johnny and I have both acquired the digital copies of this comic, and I've been able to read them all. And definitely a lot of the early ones were familiar, especially the one with the mud monster in it.
Oh, yes.
But especially once we get to like issue 8, 9, 10, then it gets pretty clear that I definitely had those issues. I was really young. Irony didn't exist to me at that point, so I didn't really get a lot of the humor but the beauty of the comic is that it can be, appreciated by children and by adults. And, when you're a kid, it's just a great, funny animal comic with a lot of cool characters. It's like a superhero comic, a lot of fight scenes.
Some great fight scenes, too.
Yeah, some really great fight scenes. Just great storytelling. And then as an adult looking at it, there's all the in-jokes, all the parody stuff of different pop culture icons. So
some very strange ones, too. As a choice where Hunter S. Thompson as an animal makes an appearance. And this is like, well, that was an odd choice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff here. But this was made with love by its creators.
Totally.
Yeah. Roy Thomas was the original writer. So we've already looked at Roy a couple times. I mean, he was the writer of All-Star Squadron. Right. He was the original writer of What If comics.
Real quick, tying into All-Star Squadron, as we all talked about, Roy loved the Golden Age.
Yeah.
And these funny animals were a big part of the same Golden Age books that he loves so much. So with the cachet he had with the hit of All-Star Squadron is why he was able to make this happen.
Yeah, exactly. This came out slightly after All-Star Squadron. Late 1981 was the insert in New Teen Titans number 16.
Wow. So I was 11. Jesus.
Yeah. I would have been only 4 years old at that time. So, but I was collecting comics at that time. I have I had comics from that time period. So Roy Thomas was the writer. Scott Shaw. Do we have to emphasize Shaw?
Yeah.
There's an exclamation mark at the end of his name. That was like his trademark. So he's the artist, but also heavily involved in the whole concept.
Yeah. And he came from a background of working in animation.
Yes.
This is his first comic book he ever drew.
That's right.
I think is...
for a mainstream.
Oh, for mainstream, right?
Yeah, I think he did underground comics in the 70s.
Right. You're right. There's no deadlines in underground comics.
Yeah, he had a lot going on. Yeah, because he was doing animation, like you said, and then later in the 80s he did quite a lot of animation for like Saturday morning cartoons. So he's great. He loves the whole funny animal concept. Jerry Conway, another famous comic book creator, was also part of the coming up with the original concept. So before we get into looking at the issues, just a bit on sort of the history of it, and this comes from actually a few of the issues. They have editorial pieces at the end by Roy Thomas where he explains how he came up with it. And, firstly is the concept of the funny animal, which was a big comic book concept in the 40s and 50s. Basically, I guess, riding on the popularity of Disney and Warner Brothers.
Well, as far as comic books go, totally riding on the popularity of the Disney comic books, because those Donald Duck comics were amazing, huge hits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. And so in the 40s, you got a ton of them. A lot of them were based on superheroes. You had the Marvel Bunny. Hoppy the Marvel Bunny for Fawcett with the Marvel family. It was one of the more well-known. Archie Comics had a Super Duck. I'm not familiar with that one. And Timely, which became Marvel eventually, had Super Rabbit in their stable. They were always the king of the knockoffs. But there was also, we're going to encounter a lot of these. There was Peter Porkchops,
right?
Who is a character in the Zoo Crew, all grown up in a way. So DC had quite a few funny animal comics, and I kind of get the sense by the 60s it was sort of a trend that it kind of started to recede and wasn't as popular anymore.
Yeah, as far as the DC was, probably even into the 50s, but the Harvey comics,
that's right,
took that. They didn't have a ton of animals. They had Baby Huey and a few others, but it led into stuff like Richie Rich, Casper, Little Lotta, Little Dot, and Hot Stuff, and all that, which were all very, very, very popular. But it led into those books. Yeah,
that's correct. Thomas writes that the direct inspiration for the Zoo Crew was a Flash story from, I guess, it was 1946, All-Star Comics, number 30, where the Flash interacts with funny animal characters in that story. And that was something that Thomas remembered as a fan growing up, reading that. So that was one of his inspirations. And then there was a comic in 1980, DC Comics Presents number 34, 1981, early 1981, where there was a single panel featuring the Just a Lot of Animals characters, which will play a part in the story coming up. And that was created by Thomas and Conway. And apparently it was just like a throwaway thing. I'm not even sure like the context of how it appeared in the issue, but people at DC liked it and asked Thomas to create a series based on it. And so originally he was going to do a Just a Lot of Animals series, which is a Justice League of America animal parody. And they were going to get going on that, but then someone decided, well, for like trademark reasons or licensing reasons, you might not want to do this, or you shouldn't do a Justice League parody, so come up with your own original concept, basically. And that's what happened. So that's where he came up with the Zoo Crew. And yeah, so it's...
So wait, sorry, Kelly, but the Flash comic you mentioned, was he crossing over with the terrific What's It?
See, that wasn't specified from what I read, but later on, yeah, when we get into that character, it's obvious that was, a Flash.
Because that was a Golden Age character, the terrific What's It, who was a turtle who was dressed like the Flash.
Yeah, so I'm imagining maybe that was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we have the creators, we have a bit of the history and how the idea came about. Now we have the team.
Mm-hmm.
So, firstly, we have Captain Carrot, who is basically the Superman of the team. Can fly, super strength, yes. All that.
But only lasts an hour because
That's right.
He has to eat his cosmic carrot.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise his secret identity is, first, Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
A cartoonist who draws the Just a Lot of Animals comic book for DC Comics on Earthsea.
Yes.
And just real quick, I don't remember if they mentioned this in those letter columns, but he was originally Roger Rabbit, and then they called him Rodney Roger Rabbit, and they changed it to R. Rodney Rabbit.
Yeah.
And that's because of Roger Rabbit. Now, you might say, well, the movie didn't come out till 87, 88. But it was a book first called Who Murdered Roger Rabbit that was being...
Who Censored Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that's it. Who Murdered Roger Rabbit was the sequel.
Yeah.
Who Censored Roger Rabbit, which was a hit book of sorts, but was already in development.
Yeah.
So DC had to change the name.
Yeah, in one of the later issues in the letters page, Thomas does bring that up to address the change.
Oh, okay, I must have missed it.
Yeah, it was. I know I marked it down somewhere. Well, we'll get to it later. But yeah,
okay,
he did explain like the whole thing with it was the book Who Censored Roger Rabbit, and that Disney had, or not Disney, whatever film company had an option now to make a movie. So
it was Disney, yeah.
It was okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was Disney or not. So yeah, he had to change the name. But for about the first 10 issues, he's Roger Rabbit, his alter ego. So yeah, like Johnny said, he's a cartoonist, and the whole thing with them getting powers was based on I don't know. It's kind of a vague sort of thing in the intro story with Superman and a meteor, and somehow the meteor explodes and sends fragments to Earthsea and landing in different spots, conveniently all in the United States, or the United Species.
The United Species.
United Species of America. But for Roger Rabbit, they land in his carrot little garden that he has.
On his windowsill.
On his windowsill. So for him, he has to continue to eat the carrots because it was the carrots that were given special powers, not himself. Whereas the other Zoo Crew were actually directly affected with the meteorite, and thus they're always powerful. They don't have to keep recharging themselves. So next in the Zoo Crew is Pig Iron. The aforementioned Peter Porkchops from the 40s and 50s DC Comics, a cute little pig character in a overalls, like basically one of the three little pigs. But now as Pig Iron, he's basically like the Thing or the Hulk.
It's the Thing. more than the Hulk because I love the fact that he's like, I'm working at the steel mill in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I was like, so things of he didn't work in a steel mill in the old comics, but and they address this briefly in a panel later and never get back to it. But as Peter Porkchops, he has a completely different personality and speech patterns. He becomes Pig Iron, the pig of steel.
Yes,
it was like a giant metal pig with a cool character design.
Yeah,
super cool character design. In fact, it was definitely Shaw's favorite character to draw that didn't have furry tits. And he talks like the Thing. But he doesn't talk like the Thing as Peter Porkchops. It's one of those things I'm like, I wonder if there ever a plan to them to get to that. They just didn't have time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because as Pig Iron, he's, kind of stupid, impulsive, angry, or angrier.
Yeah, but talks like the Thing. It's the same, like, slang.
Right.
Hey, buddy, hey, pal.
Yeah, totally. Like a Brooklyn accent sort of guy. Then we have Yankee Poodle, who we've mentioned already. And she is, what is her, well, she's a pun on, or she's a parody of Rona Barrett.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's Rova Barkett.
Rova Barkett.
Celebrity interviewer. Now, for you kids out there, before TMZ and all that shit, we had an occupation in this country called professional celebrity interviewer. And there were only a handful of them. It dates back to the 40s when you had the gossip queens of Hedda Hopper, and I'm blanking, but
I'm blanking.
Hedda Hopper's rival, and Rhoda Barrett in the 70s and early 80s was the big one, and she did celebrity journalism, and she's a spoof of that. She's a poodle. Of course.
Yes, from Follywood.
Yes.
And also from Follywood is Rubber Duck, a.k.a. Bird Reynolds.
Bird Rentals. Bird Rentals.
Okay.
So, by the name, he's supposed to be Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
It's not just a spoof of the name. He's a big Hollywood star, and this was the early 80s. Burt Reynolds was still a big star.
Yeah.
And they're in a hot tub together being interviewed, and the cosmic meteor rock hits the hot tub and gives them their powers. By the way, Yankee Poodle's powers are the craziest ones.
Yes, that's right.
Hey, she can, from one arm, she projects stripes that repel things. And the other is stars that pull things in. It's her animal magnetism.
Yes.
It's the wackiest power of all the Zoo Crew.
Yeah.
And of course, Rubber Duck is, I think you can figure that one.
Yeah. Yet another stretch character.
You have to have a stretch guy on a team. It's just the way. But they do like things where they make it clear that this is supposed to be Burt Reynolds. There's lots of stuff we'll get into, but he's making movies. There's a Cannonball Run thing, and
that's right.
So he doesn't wear a toupee, but
no. As a kid, these references totally went over my head. Even like a Burt Reynolds reference, I'm sure I knew who Burt Reynolds was, but
he didn't have a mustache.
Other than being a movie star and some of the character traits.
Oh, no, he wasn't drawn to look like Burt Reynolds whatsoever.
No,
he looks like Daffy Duck but green.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's no Burt Reynolds in his appearance at all. And then we have also mentioned already Alley Cadabra.
Garel.
Yes. From New Orleans.
New Orleans.
So yes, obviously a cat character. Real name, I think, is it Selena?
Felina Fur.
Felina Fur. Yeah, she's kind of, she's like a more interesting woman, of course. You'd think she was like kind of an intellectual. She's into magic and all
Yeah,
that.
she was like a new age motherfucker,
Yeah, yeah,
and the meteorite landed in her cauldron or some shit and
yeah.
gave her real magical powers, but that she only can access using her magic wanda.
Chiquanda.
And she has all those great Doctor Strange type, by the hoary hosts of Hogarth or by
Yes.
the crimson bands of Sidorak,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
all of hers are animal puns,
yeah,
like by the mighty Calcan, which was a dog food, and shit like that.
yeah, yeah. So she's totally a Doctor Strange parody. And of course, being a cat, her and Yankee Poodle, also, of course, they're women competing for the men, but yes, as cats and dogs, they don't get along.
Of course. Well, they also were like at one point they were like, "This is the stuff for adults." Like, well, oh, Yankee Poodle, why do you have to be such a,
Yeah.
bitch? Are you gonna say bitch? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay.
And last but not least, we have Fastback, who's a speedster and a turtle.
Yes.
Of course, there's the irony there.
With
and
one of the cooler costume designs.
Yeah, I agree. Blue, sleek.
With an arrow and everything.
Arrow, yeah. Yeah, it is a very cool costume design. And he's from, I guess, isn't he? He's from the South?
He's
or is
from
he?
the South. He's from, I think he's from Georgia. Or he's from wherever they filmed the movie with the Mud Monster. But his name is Timmy Joe Terrapin.
Yeah.
And he's been fired from every job he's ever had because he's always late. And, and now he has super speed.
Yeah, yeah. So he's the country bumpkin of the team, and his dialogue was all Southern type slang.
But he's really nice, and and he's not as stupid as he comes off.
No.
But yeah, he's constantly being insulted by Yankee Poodle, and he don't give a shit. He just lets it slide off his shell.
Yes. So there's the team.
For now.
Yes, for now. So it all came together in that preview issue with from the New Teen Titans with Superman guest starring. And
Supermax.
So, right, yeah, because Captain Carrot, in a running gag, he always calls him Super Mac.
Yeah, Mac or Max or
both. Yeah,
because the idea and the fact that to him, human beings are repulsive.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's jump right into it. I didn't really take too many notes on the actual preview issue. It was kind of, it was just setting up things.
In fact, it was just Superman and Captain Carrot. And at the end, he's like,
right.
He goes, I'm using my super rabbit ears or whatever to hear. There's radio reports of 5 other heroes with powers who have just appeared, and they go off to find them.
Right, it leads directly into the first issue. That's right. So yeah, all from here we go. So the first issue, the big villain, turns out to be Starro the Conqueror.
Yes.
Which was the villain from the very first Justice League of America story from Brave and the Bold number 28.
Yeah, they had to do that.
Yeah,
because it's the origin, but he's a starfish.
Yes, perfect.
So,
yeah, at multiple levels, it's the perfect first villain. And he's actually, is he the one that's sort of commenting on, like the whole story, sort of underlying a lot of the stories is like this meta, these meta comments, commenting on like comic book convention, like, this happens in a comic. Of course, this is going to happen because this is how it always happens in comics.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Forgotten stories, sound effects, and stuff like that. That's definitely like a trope of this series is basically spoofing on comics themselves.
Oh, so there's a lot of winking at the audience, breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
But what Starro's doing, he's on the planet of Pluto, which they don't change the name of because, of course, Pluto is a dog somewhere.
Yeah.
And Starro is sending these rays at Earth-C. When they hit, the citizens regress into their pre-evolved type. So suddenly the dog that was wearing a blazer and a hat waiting to catch the bus is now on all fours, pissing on a hydrant, or chasing cats and shit like that, which is kind of funny. I want to point this out because that's kind of the plot of Zootopia, which just came out this last year, and is a fantastic movie. But that's the plot of Zootopia.
Right. Yeah. And the president of the United Species of America is, I love this one as a history buff, Mallard Fillmore.
Yes.
Which is a pun on Millard Fillmore, who was the last Whig Party president of the United States of America.
In the 1800s. They chose to go with the pun rather than come up with a Ronald Reagan pun.
Right.
And joke. And so probably because they didn't want to get yelled at. And also because who can pass up Mallard Fillmore?
Yes, it is perfect. But yes, he's basically like, I guess, a Republican Reagan stand-in a lot of ways. So yeah, any other notes on the debut issue?
Well, they all team up and they defeat Starro by putting lime on him.
I think so.
Limestone, yeah, because it was on pig iron from being in the pit. And they shake hands with Supermax, and he goes back. They figure out a way to get him back to Earth One, and they decide they're going to be a team, or are they?
Right.
Because being the Hulk / Thing of the team, when we get into issue 2, you have to have that character who doesn't want to be a member of no fucking team just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes a while for them to sort of get everything together. Several issues before they decide, where their headquarters are going to be and all that.
And that at first they decide to hang out at Bird Rental's house in Hollywood. That's going to be where they hang out.
That's right. Right, and that we should say Captain Carrot's from New York.
GNU.
GNU. So he's on the opposite coast. So he goes back and forth because he's still writing or drawing, illustrating comic books as his occupation.
But he eventually pulls a John Byrne and just moves to California and says,
That's right.
I'll send them in the mail.
Yeah. But this all is it's very like a slowly evolving story of how they come to decide to coexist and make decisions that they're gonna relocate and all that. So it's kind of cool that it's not all thrown together in like a neat, tidy little bow right away. It's an evolving story of them coming together as a team.
Oh, totally. They do this. As silly as this all sounds to people who aren't familiar with anything, they take their time.
Yes.
With this, they're not, just because they're funny animals doesn't mean that they're all going to be friends right away. They're doing the thing of they don't always get along. They bicker. It's going to take them a while to be a team. They have to learn how to fight as a team. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Because they're all new heroes, and it's more than just a funny animal comic. That's for sure. So in the second issue, like Johnny said, there's the whole tension with Pig Iron basically pulling a Thing move where he's quitting and I don't need you and all that, and we're introduced to a criminal crime group with an interesting acronym name. So they're Acrostic.
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 Yeah. It changes and what it stands for changes every issue.
Yeah. Exactly. In the first appearance, they're a organization recently organized solely to instigate crimes. And they're run by Brotherhood.
Yep.
2 words. Is it a duck character?
Well, they reveal it, and he's a duck.
Yeah.
The big reveal, we'll give it away, happens a few issues later, though. He's Mallard Fillmore's brother.
That's right. Right.
And but they introduce, this is the one where they introduce one of the first villains.
Mm-hmm.
And so the design of some of these villains Scott Shaw does are villains that could have been in the regular DC universe.
Yeah.
They're threatening looking. And this was they introduced Armadillo.
Mm-hmm.
And he works for Brotherhood. And he's like an armadillo, but he's a big, giant, strong, super strong armadillo that with a tail that can swing, kind of like the Scorpion in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But you could picture this drawn maybe just the face is funny animal, but the body is all like super villain, like the lizard, let's say.
Yeah, basically. Or what was the other character in Spider-Man in the 70s, the dinosaur one?
Oh, Dino-Man. Was it? Oh,
no.
No. What was his name?
Started with an S, didn't it? Something.
Gosh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was a very short-lived character.
Yeah, very short-lived. Saragon or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, that's who Armadillo reminded me of, that character.
Yeah, so they because in typical Pig Iron's walking away, Brotherhood wants to come work for me if you hate everybody. And he's like, I'm not going to work for you either, pal. He's like, that's too bad. You kill him, Armadillo. And, of course, the Zucker come to help out. And he'd assaulted a cop and all kinds of shit. Mm-hmm. And he was now wanted. But by the end, they clear everything up with the cops, and Pig Iron is now officially part of the group.
Yeah. At the end of 2, they've sort of officially united, or they're going to try and make a go of this as a regular team. Yes.
Because this is the 80s, you see, and bickering superhero teams, the teams had to bicker somewhat. They couldn't just be all buddies.
Right.
At least not at first.
Well, it's the legacy of Marvel in the 60s, Silver Age Marvel, basically. Their groups. It was still quite strong. Like in the early 80s, we were still basically heavily influenced by that era of comic books. So the third issue introduces my personal favorite villain. That's Frogzilla. I think that was definitely one of the characters that attracted me to the comic, like him on the cover. Now
that you mention that, what I want to say here is one thing about this book, and it got better and better, was the quality of the covers.
Yeah.
They had so many amazing covers that would make you go, what is this? I want to buy this.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamic covers by Scott Shaw.
Yep. Great covers. Shaw really, with each passing issue, just gets better and better.
He could sell a comic book with a cover. It was amazing.
Yeah. And also I want to mention something that's missing from today's comics is the amount of dialogue in these issues.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. There's the speech bubbles are just
tons.
Rare.
Speech bubbles, the old editors' narrations.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff on speech bubbles on the covers, not just in the book.
Yeah. I hadn't. It's been a while since I've read a lot of old comics, and I'd forgotten.
Even when in a comic book called Captain Fucking Carrot, they expect you to read.
Yeah. Yeah. They cram so much into these panels. It's just ridiculous. I love it. I mean, this is my preferred type of comic book. I love comics where it's, more than just a bunch of cool looking pictures and stuff. This is
now like an issue of I remember picking up and enjoying in the early 2000s Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But there were some of the issues of that had pages with like maybe 3 words of dialogue.
Oh yeah. By like the late 90s, early 2000s, I could read a comic book in like a couple minutes. 5 minutes, because there just wasn't much to it. But these ones, man,
Well, between the dialogue, the letters page,
yeah.
the ads, and Dick Giordano's page of
Oh yeah.
giving you information that almost 95% of the time was just the ramblings of an old man. There's a lot to read.
Yeah, the meanwhile page. Oh yeah, there's tons. I mean, yeah, I love these old comics. So the third issue opens with a meta joke, basically saying something about like avant-garde writers and artists, and they actually mention like Will Eisner and Harvey Kurtzman in the text at the beginning, two famous icons of comic books from the 40s and 50s. And yeah, that's something, again, I totally missed as a kid, of course, and you come back and you're able to appreciate it now as an adult. So the third issue has like the classic Justice Society All-Star Comics style, multiple stories with the team split up thing with different parts. This also has the Hunter Thompson parody.
Yes.
A character in it. I can't remember exactly. I made a note of it, but what was the Thompson parody exactly in this?
I can't remember what his name was, but he's on the Lust Boat.
Right.
In the opening shot, he's thinking to himself, I can't believe that Hunter, S. Tomcat, who knows, something like that, is on there with a Fear and Loathing joke. It was a one-panel thing.
That's right.
On this, when I mentioned that there was a popular Golden Age funny animal series called The Dodo and the Frog.
Yes.
Where the dodo was like this cute, dummy, but nice guy, and Jay Fenimore Frog was always trying to scam him out of something.
Mm-hmm.
And in this, the captain of the Lust Boat is the dodo.
Right.
And what's funny, okay, this is 1981. The Love Boat was still a huge hit.
Yep. Oh, big time.
Saturday nights on ABC, The Love Boat was like an unbeatable show. It was for years and years.
Yeah, I know. It was going well into the 80s.
Like I remember NBC debuted a show that starred Jim Varney and as like a leader of a bunch of hillbillies who were like bounty hunters, and it was supposed to be funny, and they were gonna sink the Love Boat, and nothing. Oh, that was a big advertising campaign. They're gonna sink the Love Boat.
Oh yeah,
nothing could sink the fucking Love Boat.
No.
So this was the Lust Boat, that was an odd choice of words.
Yes.
It was funny as the dodo kind of looks like Captain Stubing.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, and then you had the bartender character too.
Oh, it was Isaacs.
Yeah. Parody of him.
Yes, but it's Jay Fenimore Frog has been given the ability to turn into. You don't know this yet, though.
That's right.
It's Frogzilla. He's a giant Godzilla-like frog who can talk.
Yeah.
And he's gonna sink the Lust Boat.
Yeah. I think one reason I love Frogzilla so much is at the same time I was big into the old monster movie characters like King Kong and Godzilla, of course. And
well, it was a great looking character. I mean,
yeah,
because he had the tongue thing going too.
Yeah. It's just one of the most vivid memories I have of this whole series is the Frogzilla character from when I was a kid. So this issue also wrapped up the Brotherhood storyline, basically the intro storyline with him being revealed to be the president's brother. And then we go into issue 4, which this is one I definitely know I had as a kid. It's a parody of a bunch of different things. It's a parody of Hollywood, basically, of the movie industry, Steven Spielberg in particular. And
hold on. Steven Spielberg dog.
Yes. And also, of course, the Swamp Thing concept or character that was, it was being revived at this time by DC. And it was a comic that I loved. I was a huge Swamp Thing fan as a kid. So you have the character in this of Mud, M-U-D.
Mud.
Yeah, which is basically it's a prehistoric alligator.
No, it's dark, dude. Because the opening thing says like all these years ago, and they show this alligator in like overalls. He's like a prospector. He's looking for hidden treasure.
Oh, that's
and they show him in the swamp, and explain how he's looking for something. And off panel, there's a horrific scream.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened to him, but apparently as he was sucked down into quicksand, and because of the chemicals being used by the special effects crew on this movie, animates the mud around the skeleton and remains of this old prospector.
Yeah.
And then he's a giant mud creature with the snout of an alligator.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So, but basically the Swamp Thing's origin story right there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Dr. Holland. It was
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It was the alligator that Woody Woodpecker fought a couple times.
Farrah Fawcett is introduced in this one too, and she's a reoccurring character throughout. This one's a fun story for sure. Love the swamp environment for it all. And in the letters column, we have a letter from the famous T.M. Maple. Did you notice this, Johnny?
I did. I can't remember what he say.
He was just, praising the first issue, basically, and he was really into it.
The Mad Maple.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I didn't know that. I thought the guy's name was like Thomas Michael Maple or something, but no, it was the Mad Maple, and he was in every letters column, in every comic book.
Seemingly, yeah, Marvel and DC.
To a point where they banned him.
Probably.
I know. I remember reading about this, that they one of the companies said, we're going to stop printing him.
Yeah.
For some reason or another. But
yeah.
He was like a Canadian super fan.
Yeah, from Toronto. Most of his letters were very long usually. The one in the Captain Carrot issue is quite short, but I think it's mentioned later that they had to whittle it down to just a couple paragraphs. But yeah, this guy was, I don't know. I mean,
this guy was the forerunner of people on the internet now who feel the need to post stuff in message boards about stuff that's way too long, and people kind of like you, so you start becoming a little celebrity in your own mind.
Yeah.
As a fan.
Mm-hmm.
He was that of that day and age.
Yeah, they gave him too much power. They printed too many of his letters. It's totally like I went through the New Teen Titans years ago, and also Frank Miller's Daredevil at the same time. And T.M. Maple letters it seemed like in every second issue of both those comics. He was very prolific as a letter writer.
He must have looked like fucking Super 8. I just figured it.
Yes.
He was a Canadian Super 8.
Yeah, basically. Super A?
that's fantastic. You want to go with puns? That's the best. on Earthsea, he'd be a giant. What's it?
A beaver.
Beaver. Yeah, exactly. He'd be a giant beaver.
or a moose.
I was gonna go moose, but I think beaver's better. There's not a lot of fat moose.
That's true. Oh my. But But yeah, I couldn't. He actually didn't appear in the letters pages again. I was checking each one, and I couldn't see another TM Maple.
I do remember a period of time where there was a moratorium on TM Maple letters.
Yeah, because it's after around 1984 or so he vanishes pretty much. But in the early 80s, he was just an omnipresent person in comic book letter pages.
I swear to God, if we could find that guy and interview him for this show, that'd be the greatest fucking get of nerdness ever.
Yeah, I know I read somewhere that I think he died years ago, actually. I don't know if it was just like a wild urban legend myth or something, but...
He's living in the wilds of Saskatchewan.
Yeah. So the 5th issue, we get into the more parodies, of course. This is Rabbits of the Lost, or the last arc.
Yep.
With Oklahoma Bones
Junior.
Johnny, explain this one.
I loved this, by the way. This was the first of their two-parters that had intricate plots.
Right.
And upon rereading it, not as great as I remembered it, but at the time it was really, really cool. But yes, it's obviously Oklahoma Bones. It's an Indiana Jones spoof, but it's Oklahoma Bones Jr. And where he's with his whip, who's a snake named Whipley, who worked with the original Oklahoma Bones, who's supposed to be the Indiana Jones of the 40s, who's a great swashbuckling hero, and Oklahoma Bones Jr. is more of more of an academic.
Yeah, bookish type.
And bookish, trying to live up to his father's legacy. The idea is, it's a very complicated fucking idea, but on Easter Island, which is Easter Bunny Island, the heads are bunnies, but they flash back in during Weird War II.
Yes, the second Weird War.
The Ratsies, which were they had Nazis in this goddamn book, dude, and they were Ratsies,
of course,
and they were trying to get dig up, because apparently these were statues of interstellar creatures, and there was these eggs that they had that looked like Easter eggs, but they had monsters inside them, and the Ratsies were gonna use them in the war effort, and Oklahoma Bones stopped them, but some of the eggs had made it off the island, along with a mysterious cocoon, and they're trying to find the eggs. They're in a place. Pig Iron finds one and tries to make an omelet out of it and almost eats them.
Yeah.
But then they get to the end and they're showing this is so great, the annual Easter egg celebration at the White House. Mm-hmm. And in there is the ambassador from some South American place. And I can't remember the pun. But it's Baron von whatever, the old Ratzi, who in a spoof of that, a lot of Nazis ran away to South America.
Right. Yeah.
And the eggs for the Easter egg celebration are these monster eggs, and they have to go to get to the Capitol to do something about it for the next issue. And great cover.
Yes.
And I remember, this is what like I said, I loved this one as a kid. Rereading it, I was like, they're still finding their feet.
Yeah, they were.
The concept, but it was a neat idea, and then we get into the next, because we go from World War II stuff to cosmic.
Oh yeah,
the Bunny from Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some badass shit.
Yeah, no, this is, there's a lot to this story. I was amazed when I was reading it a few days ago at how it just kept getting more and more complicated.
Very complicated.
One pun name that you forgot to mention, Johnny, was Adolf Hippo.
Oh, it was Adolf Hippo, right.
Who we didn't get to see. The name was just mentioned.
And that's because they're like, okay, what are we going to do? Adolf Hitler. How about Hippo? Yeah. But why would we have a big fat Hitler? Because we're going to go with it. Because we're not going to show a cartoon Hitler. I'm sorry. Yeah. One way or the other, then we'll say Hippo, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. They did have some standards to maintain here. Yeah.
You can have Lust Boat, but we're not giving you a funny animal Hitler.
Just
it was enough that they had Nazis, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, you got Nazis, Ratsies. The egg yolks coming out of the magical eggs, and you have space bunnies. Like, this is just all beautifully weird stuff. I love this stuff. Issue 6, so it's the second part. This is where Shaw, I think, really starts cooking with gas here big time.
What's funny here, though, Kel, is right at the same time in All-Star Squadron was the story going on about the giant alien coming
That's right.
Yeah, to halt all the war, and he's a big giant alien, but it's actually Hawkman's old foe. That two-parter was going on at the exact same time as this one. And I noticed that as a kid. I was like, who's writing both of these books?
Yeah. Well, he had a lot of stuff to write, so he was basically doing two comics at once here, two plots in a way. So the Space Bunny is an interesting character. Kind of good, I guess, but very arrogant. Because he's, an advanced species. So he talks down to everybody. Johnny, go.
He's the last of the race of these bunnies from beyond.
Yeah.
That the character design is pretty killer. This is a very Marvel idea. It's like the Watchers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, totally.
And he was the only one that survived. He has this like glowing sarcophagus that has carrots in it, and the Ratsies think he's gonna work for them, but no. Ends up getting back on the island, and he's just like, yes, he's above it all. And the Ratsie, old guy, he turns him into stone. And Captain Cat was like, he might have been a Ratsie, but he deserved a fair trial.
Yeah. I love that part.
And he's like, you would defy me? And they have to fight the bunny from beyond. So it's it's bonkers.
It is.
Where this goes. It's super fucking bonkers, and it's great stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, because I'm pretty sure I didn't read these issues when I was a kid, or have them, because this felt very new to me. And
I remember where I bought these at our local pharmacy in our small town when the new comics came in the magazine rack.
Yes.
And I couldn't wait for part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was super fun. You talked a bit about the old ads in the comics. In the 6th issue, we had a Sergeant Rock ad, and I clearly remember these ones.
For the toys?
Yeah, for the toys. Sergeant Rock is on the move in 82.
You know what that was?
No, what was it?
That was in response to the G.I. Joe toys.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now it all makes sense.
Yeah, so G.I. Joe was developed, Hasbro went to Marvel.
Yeah.
And said, let's come up with something together, which they did amazingly successfully. I mean, that G.I. Joe comic book lasted a very long time. But what people don't realize, for about the first 20 to 24 issues of it, it was one of the hottest books on the market. And the toys along with it.
Yep.
It was huge. And then the cartoon came out. And,
Yeah, the only time I ever saw Marvel Comics advertised on TV was for the G.I. Joe comic, because they would do an ad for the toy, and then at the very end it was like, if you want to see more, buy the Marvel comic, and they would
right. And even the cartoon,
cover.
even the cartoon at first was a mini series. The
Yeah.
first G.I. Joe cartoon was a mini series, and it was like must-see TV. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
But
Huge.
so DC decided Remco, some other toy company on the rocks. No pun intended.
Didn't they make the AWA toys?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I don't know if it was Remco, but that's the first one I go to. And say, hey, we've got an established character, and we can do army toys too, which is a super failure because Sergeant Rock was a serious comic book.
Yeah.
And Ed was not that popular.
Oh.
To where kids like, I can't wait to play with Sergeant Rock. I was like, what? No. It was huge.
Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing any Sergeant Rock toys in my toy store. But
I mean, me neither. Could you imagine kids play with Sergeant Rock toys and there's a battle and one of them dies and they walk away and the kid has the toy Sergeant Rock. He goes, nothing's easy and easy. There was no fun in Sergeant Rock. It was a war comic.
Yeah, it was. It's true.
It was World War II.
I think it was one of the books that my dad actually read, because at this time he was still reading comics, but he was into like westerns and war comics and stuff.
Oh, which still existed. Jonah Hex was still
a thing. Jonah Hex was a comic.
Weird War Tales was still a thing.
Yeah.
Haunted Tank, which I loved. Yes. But Sergeant Rock, there was nothing funny about Sergeant Rock that would make kids want to either read it or play with the toys.
Total failure on DC's part. Next, number 7, another big parody here. This one I totally remember. This is Bowser the Barbarian.
The Barkabarian.
The Barkabarian. Okay. So it's basically a combination of Conan and Khazar. And yeah, this one is interesting. You got a character named Ezra Hound,
yes,
who's the creator of Bowser in the comic here. But the name, of course, is a pun on Ezra Pound, who was actually like a modernist poet.
Yes.
In the early 20th century.
I guess they what are we going to go with? Ezra Pound, or Hound, or whatever it is, or I think R. Howard, whatever.
Yes,
too hard to fucking,
yeah. It's a great pun, but yeah, it's hilarious.
Well, they wanted to avoid a lawsuit, because Conan was still a very popular comic book at Marvel.
Yep, and the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger came out right around this time, early 80s and 82.
But this was a Conan spoof. That's what this was.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a neat idea that the creator of Bowser was going to kill off the character. But in an alternate reality, Bowser is real.
Yeah.
And through some weird interdimensional shit, senses that this wizard is planning on killing him, and that's his creator, the author. That he, for no particular reason, because of this, is able to jump to Earthsea. Yes. And is looking to kill this guy, and the zoo crew have to stop him, but he's misunderstood. Mm-hmm. And by the end, they figure it out, and they send Bowser back, and Ezra Hound, or whatever it is, gets sucked back with him. And they do a flash showing what their life is like now, that he's like his manservant who hangs out, like, gives him his swords, but he's busy, like, writing.
Yeah.
Hand me my sword. He's like, oh, I'm busy. I'm writing this stuff. And, which is a really neat concept. But this was the first issue where Scott Shaw couldn't meet a fucking deadline. And they gave the art to, Stan something, who, I forget, who at the time, and I'm sure the guy did his best, but it lacked the detail and the pizzazz of Shaw's pencils.
Yeah.
And I did not like any of the issues that this guy drew. So this one left me cold then. I read it now. I go, oh, the story was a lot better than I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, still that art bugged me. It just brought back those memories of like, I'd open up and I didn't see Scott Shaw art in a Captain Carrot.
Right.
It disappointed me, and that would continue to be an issue.
Yeah, it's just the soul just isn't there anymore.
It's not there.
Yeah, like the characters are there, but it's just not the same. No.
Now we'll get towards the end, and finally a suitable replacement did happen, but it was too late.
Right. So yeah, this one was really neat. Well, as far as like, this one I definitely remember as a kid. They have at the end this backup feature, and this started. I guess this is where it starts, where they have like a backup.
Oh yeah.
Feature, and this one is like a profile of each of the characters with.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that I clearly remember those.
Oh no, this was the infamous jerk off issue.
Oh.
The character profile of Ali Cadabra by Scott Shaw, where these are character profiles like you'd find in what those handbooks.
Yeah, the Marvel Universe.
Marvel Universe DC did this,
yeah.
where it was just a still shot that where the artist took a lot of time, and there was a lot of shading, and the characters, and the Ali Cadabra one was the one that was quite popular in my house.
I'm gonna bring that up right now and take a look at it.
Oh, dude, I'd bring it up right now. If I bring it up right now, I'd drop my pants.
yeah, no, the detail.
Yeah, podcast first.
The detail is pretty good. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I picture how fast soft that fur.
Oh God. Okay, moving on, as Parv would say. Next issue, we get another two-parter. Basically, this was now the way it went with a series of two-part storylines. This one's about the Timekeeper.
This is so good.
Yeah, this one's really cool too. We get the debut of the Zoo Cruiser vehicle, which is pretty cool, and the Z building, or Z building, as I would say. Headquarters.
Dirty Canadian. It's the Z building.
Which is a takeoff on the Teen Titans headquarters.
Yeah, it's shaped like a Z. They say it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, or whatever.
Yeah, his pun name, yeah.
Whatever it was, Frank Lloyd Rat, or whatever the fuck it was. But this is when, as you were talking about, the team idea totally coalesced. Because Mallard Fillmore, as a gift for all the times they've saved the world or saved America or whatever, they get this building as their headquarters. They have the Zoo Cruiser. They even show like a diagram of all the stuff in the fucking thing. But the sense of humor here, because this is when Shaw starts with doing the dialogue as well,
right?
And the jokes are snappier. The panels interact with what they're saying as if it is the same guy's writing the dialogue who's drawing, and you can see it here. There's these great panels, and the jokes flow from panel to panel with a change of facial expressions. Like when Captain Carrot's showing everything. And here's this, and this is great. And they're all like, that's great, neat. And here's the headquarters where we store this. Oh, that's great. And they get to, and here's this where there's an art studio for Rodney Rabbit to draw. Yeah. And they're all, the facial expressions just change, but everything else stays the same. And like, it pays to be the leader, huh? And lots of great sight gags in the art and dialogue start here. This two-parter, I think, is with the exception of something that's coming up later, I think this two-parter is the apex of the series. This is the height of it. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's really good. And yeah, like you said, Shaw's like, now he's got pretty much total control of the series. and it's now his masterpiece or whatever.
Yeah.
He's really he's just, he loves the universe. He loves all the characters. It's just, he's really going, and it's noticeable now. It was the first few issues were good, and there was a lot of good gags, and the stories were good too. But now it's getting into like the real peak of the stories, and they flow from one to the next, and it's really, really cool. The ninth issue brings back a bunch of old DC characters, funny animal characters.
Oh yeah, because what it is that time has stopped.
Yeah,
but not really. It's like it's like they order a pizza, and they go to get it. Why hasn't it been delivered yet? Because the oven won't cook or something. Nothing's frozen, but things that require time.
Yes.
Are happening.
Right.
And so they get in the zoo cruiser, they find this interdimensional thing, and they end up in basically a Salvador doggy painting.
Yeah.
With a bear who wears a watch, has a belt, and has got a suit on. Looks great. He's the time master. And he was in one of his like millennia hibernations.
Right.
When he was woken up by a disturbance. The disturbance being Bowsar and the other guy flying through the interdimensional portal. So he's woken up, and now he's obsessed with having to collect things. So he's going to collect time.
Right.
And that's why things are frozen. And Zuko's going to stop him. He turns Captain Carrot into an old rabbit.
Yeah, yeah.
The rest of the babies.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he sends them all into different hourglasses and places in time, except for Ali Cadabra, because he wants a little pussy. Oh, yes, I am congratulating myself on that fucking line.
That was beautiful. Yeah, well, he must have saw the biopic,
I guess,
in the previous issue as well, but now he's got her in the flesh, so to speak.
So to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, he
gets a great line. He's like, well, at the end, he's like, I kept you around to be my companion. She goes, never in a million years. And he has a great line. He's like, no worries, my dear. I have the time. Like,
yeah.
Oh, what a cliffhanger. It's so fucking great.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. And then for the ninth issue, we have the other characters in these different hourglasses and in different time periods, right? So
different funny animal, like you said, animal characters.
Yeah. So firstly, we have the jive jumping emperor Nero Fox.
Nero Fox
from ancient Egypt time.
Oh no, Rome.
Oh yeah, I guess right, but kind of a mix of both, because I think it starts in ancient Egypt and then it goes over to Rome. But whatever.
Well, yeah, they conquered Egypt, so
yeah, right, yeah.
But who was on peyote at National Comics at the time? Like, we need a funny animal character. How about a Roman emperor? We'll go with Nero, but he doesn't play the fiddle. He likes to blow the horn, and he's a jive swinging fox who's the emperor of ancient Rome.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. Print it.
I know. It
makes no sense.
Truly amazing creation. He appeared in Leading Comics, was the comic in the late 1940s, DC or National as they were known then. I tried to find information online. There's not much out there. It's a pretty obscure character.
Oh yeah.
Really obscure. But, he had a run in the 40s, basically. Whoever was writing it and coming up with it in the 40s was having a lot of fun. That's for sure. So one of the more hip writer and artists of that National had going.
Some of us smoking those funny cigarettes.
Yes, down in Harlem or something.
Yeah, it's at the Cotton Club. Got an idea. Mort. Yeah. By the way, we need to mention that E. Nelson Bridwell starts helping out writing.
Yes.
Some days. I was like, did they find him in the DC nursing home?
Yeah. He was always kicking around. He was always, he'd pop up every once in a while.
Hey, E, what do you remember? I remember the funny. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, because we had some.
Yeah, and then more characters from the past. We have the Three Musketeers, of course, who were actually quite popular. I think they started in the 40s and they had a comic right up to 1960, with maybe a few interruptions in there, but still a quite popular comic.
And that was Rubber Duck and Yankee Doodle teamed up with them.
Right. Yeah. So we
the
have
first one's Pig Iron and Captain Carrot.
Right. Yeah. We have another one of the Justice Society style split up team things going on here, and the final one is Fastback. And is he teamed up with anybody, or is
Fastback's always by himself.
That's right.
And this is one of the weirder ones because he ends up teaming up with the terrific What's-It that we mentioned, who was his uncle, Turtle McSnurtle or something like that.
Yeah.
Who was mentioned earlier in the book. He talks about, I remember my uncle Snurtle or whatever the fuck it was.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the invasion of D-Day.
Yes, Normandy.
This is the Normandy Beach.
Yeah.
The Second Weird War. And Fastback and the terrific What's-It are doing their best so they could go try to find Saving Private Ryan or whatever. I mean, one of the most horrific things that ever happened in history.
Yeah.
But it's drawn really well. It's like with these funny animals and they're a fucking war, but of course you're not seeing anyone die, but I remember at the time I'm like, that's heavy. That's a heavy place to do this. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah. No,
I guess Adolf Hippo did not have the spear of destiny.
I guess not. Not on Earth.
Not on Earth C.
No, that's true. Yeah, it works though. They're able to.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it was a different time though. Totally different time. It's just, I don't know if you could do the same thing nowadays, but it all just it felt okay.
Yes. And the best is the way they win. Because Ali Cadabra breaks open the hourglasses, the Zugu comes out, Time Master's gonna fuck him up because he's pretty much omnipotent, and Ali Cadabra goes, "Wait, I know what to do," and gives him magically a giant pile because he wants to collect,
right?
A giant pile of coins, comic books, baseball cards,
and
everything. So now he's become a nerd collector guy, and he's happy and he'll leave the earth alone.
Yeah, because that's all he needed was something to collect. Yeah, that was a good finish to it.
Yeah, it's and the art is Shaw at his best.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. This two-parter is so much fun.
Yeah, totally. And this issue also has a backup, an Alley Cat backup story that is a total Doctor Strange parody.
Right.
Yeah, with all the way out crazy art and Steve Ditko, Doctor Strange, basically parody, and it also has a beautifully drawn He-Man insert preview.
That's right.
Drawn by
Curt Swan.
Curt Swan. Yeah, it was really.
That's the one I think we talked about this once, and I couldn't remember what was first, the insert or the issue of DC Comics Presents. And I think I said the insert was first. I was wrong because it was that DC Comics Presents that you were right that introduced these the Eternia characters. The insert was to promote the fact that the toys were about to fucking happen.
Yeah, I guess so. There was a mini series at least of He-Man.
I still remember the fucking minis. I know there was, but I don't remember if that was after this or before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was just a mini series. It didn't become an ongoing series.
The best thing in it is at the end where all the Eternian guys are like talking and Superman's like, does anyone know how I get fucking home? That's basically, it's a circle. It's He-Man talking with Man at Arms and the sorceress, and Superman's with a smile is like, yeah, that's finally Skeletor's been defeated, but we don't know, and the magic of Eternia, and Superman's like, yeah, it's all great. He's like, does anyone know how I can get home? And that's how it fucking ends. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Man, Curt Swan though.
God, Curt Swan. Curt Swan is the most underrated artist, I think, in comic history. And here's why. He did Superman for so long that people took him for granted.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, people took him for granted. And thought like, oh, we've seen his art for so many years. Mm-hmm. We're not impressed anymore.
Yeah.
When you really look at it, you're like, how amazing was he? He was one of the masters. And that's why I do like that his tip of the hat was Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Right.
Which is so highly regarded.
Yeah.
Because he got to go out on a high note.
Yeah.
But you're right. His art is beautiful.
Yeah, and how it evolved from in the 50s and 60s, it looked very much like a 50s and 60s comic book, but then he did evolve into the 70s style with a more detailed...
His 70s Superman stuff, it was so detailed but not flashy.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. There was nothing... when John Byrne hit, it seemed flashy. Wow, that's it.
Yeah.
But Curt Swan's art at the same time was just as good, if not better, because he had everything covered, every little detail.
Mm-hmm.
To people's lapels, to where their eyebrows are raising. Mm-hmm. There's just nothing flashy about it. Curt Swan is one of the greatest comic book artists who ever lived.
Yeah, no, it is super, like you said, super underrated. I'd almost forgotten how much I liked him until I saw just this He-Man preview, and I was like, holy fuck, he was a fantastic artist. Anyway, back to the Zoo Crew. The next two-part arc is the one that I remember probably the most of all as a kid. And it's the Curse of the Was-Wolf storyline, which is awesome. Basically, the premise is this is playing on the history of the Peter Porkchop's character, and back in the 50s, there was a character, the Wolf, or A Wolf, Wolf, or Wolfie, as he's also referred to, who was his enemy, I guess, or nemesis, or whatever, kind of in the...
in the comic, for a while, it was he wanted to eat him.
Right.
As you mentioned before, the wolf and the pig, the little pigs thing. They moved away from it eventually. Then it was into schemes and what have you. But they play into that weird thing. Okay, we're doing this universe, Peter Porkchops, and they take in this character, A Wolf, who was just an evil guy, and now he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's a plumber. He goes to a psychiatrist, Sigmund Frog, yeah. And says he's like, I tell you, I have these crazy weird things thoughts about, I used to have a neighbor and I used to want to eat him. And that's that's like cannibalism on this world.
Yeah.
So they play into the whole thing that in the Funny Animal comics, in the old days, there was sometimes I'm going to catch him and eat him. Even though they're talking and have jobs and drive cars. And they play into, that's horrific. And the place is, the legends of the Was-Wolf, from Transylvania and shit. It's, he's a half wolf, half man thing. And sure enough, because of a mystical talisman he's carrying, A Wolf becomes a Was-Wolf. After he's hired to go to the Zoo Crew's Z building to fix the plumbing, and Pig Iron sees him and he's like, "Hey, Wolfie," He's like, who the fuck are you? He's like, it's me, Peter. And he starts feeling jealous of him. He's like, he's like, oh, really? He's a fucking superhero and I'm a plumber. He even says, I know I'm making good money as a plumber and I'm successful, but really? God damn it.
Yeah.
I guess I can't believe I used to want to eat him. So, of course, when he turns into the Wolf, he's a giant. It's cool that he's more human than Wolf.
Yeah.
And super strong. And of course, for some reason, Pig Iron's powers go away. And he's Peter Porkchops again. And at the end, the Wolf gets him. And he's going to take him to his house and cook him.
Yes. Yeah, well, he bites.
That's it. He bites Pig Iron, and the magic turns.
Yeah.
It's the magic mixed with the fact that the talisman was created in the same batch of steel that Pig Iron was created. In an amazing coincidence, they explained in one word balloon at the end of the second part.
I love that. Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, that's all the explanation you need. Yeah, I loved Bitter Wolfie, how he was so bitter at Pig Iron.
It's such a great, because I've read some of those old comics, and the wolf used to be just, it's what they were, he's like, I'm going to catch him and I'm going to eat him, or I'm going to swindle him. And here he's like, hey, life's okay. I go to a shrink. I have a successful plumbing business. And he's one of the best characters.
Yeah, he's a great character. Like, and then his facial expressions, the way Shaw draws him, when he.
Well, this wasn't Shaw. That's another thing.
Oh, this isn't Shaw? Oh.
No, these issues were the other guy, which at the time I didn't like these. He drew the covers, but Shaw didn't do the interiors. It was the other guy. And rereading them again, this was one of the ones I was like, I didn't appreciate these at the time because I was disappointed Shaw didn't draw them. But looking back, I was like, well, this is some funny stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I just loved the facials of Wolfie, like his.
So good.
Bitter. Oh, okay. We should get a name going since we.
It's Stan
Goldberg.
Stan Goldberg, that's it.
Yeah, since we've been referring him to it.
And, I almost want to apologize to him because at the time I was like, I hate Stan Goldberg because if I saw that it was his art or his name on it, I was like, ugh, I'm not going to like this. And the poor guy is just meeting the deadlines that Shaw can't fucking meet.
Right.
Doing his best.
Yeah, no, he was pretty good. Did he do the Conan or the Bowser issue too?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay. So I may have, sold him a bit short when I was discussing him before, because it's pretty good.
It was rushed. He did a great job for a rush. These were rush jobs.
Yeah.
So deadlines, and when you think of it that way,
yeah.
And of course, I didn't think of it that way when I was 12.
Right.
He did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really love his portrayal of Wolfie and his bitter glances over at Pig Iron.
Yeah, those are really good.
Where he's just seething with envy.
It's like, I can't believe. He's like, God damn it. And what's best is, it's like I always used to make fun of the fact when Dusty Rhodes used to go, I was the son of a plumber.
Yeah.
I was like, the last time I had to hire a plumber, it cost me an arm and a fucking leg. Plumbers do well. And he says that in this. It's like, I'm doing really good. But for a guy who wears pants and one suspender,
yeah,
he has a secretary.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing great.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't remember. He turns into the Wolf. He has,
right.
It's not him. He doesn't know that. And when he turns back and he finally, he realizes it was him. He's, I was going to eat him. Oh, God. He wants to puke.
Right. Yeah. Because it is like, you said cannibalism.
It's cannibalism, which is neat because there's a running joke about them going to McDonald's
yes.
for burgers.
Yeah.
And someone in the letters column wrote in and said, what do they eat at McDonald's? And it was like towards the end of the run, they finally mentioned they were going out for tofu burgers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they bring up, McDonald's almost every issue.
McDonald's. It's not even an animal pun. Just...
yeah, that's what I was wondering when I was trying to figure out what pun.
Some of them weren't animal puns. Some of them were just Lust Boat and McDonald's.
Yeah. But yeah, I love these two issues. Crazy at the end of the first issue where Peter Porkchops is stripped down to stripped naked and about to be roasted.
Yeah, you see he's got an apple in his mouth and everything.
Like a strategically placed box of breadcrumbs.
Oh, it's always
right in front of him.
To where when they rescue, it's like, so somebody has some pants.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't mind.
I was like, wait, Rubber Duck doesn't wear pants.
Yeah.
Well, in his costume he does, but as Bird Rentals, he only wears a polo shirt.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
Rodney Rabbit only wears a vest and a shirt.
Yeah.
But Pig Iron must be packing.
Yeah, he doesn't want to. He's modest. So yeah, this was a cool two-parter. And right now we'll take a quick break. And as always, check out our other shows on the PWO PTBN network and the PTBN feed. And we'll be right back.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
What's up, everybody? This is Kevin Kelly. Make sure you check out every episode of The Kevin Kelly Show right here on the Place to Be Nation. PlaceToBeNation.com. The Kevin Kelly Show. Every episode is a winner. At least we hope.
Place to Be Nation's Justin Rosero here. In addition to the Kevin Kelly Show, we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes and PlaceToBeNation.com. You can check out Scott Criscullo and me on the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, with our famous Vintage Vault pay-per-view reviews. PTBN also covers current day wrestling with Main Event, Mission Indie Possible, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows with immediate feedback on WWE, NXT, and Ring of Honor Super Shows. And relive wrestling's past with our monthly pay-per-view rewind series, led by Ben Morse, and the Dangerous Alliance Wrestling podcast as we dive into various subjects in the form of exercises and games. We got sports covered too with the Sports Evolution Mega Show with Scott, Dr. G, Cowboy, and Cowboy Sr., the Kings of Sport led by Live Audio Wrestling's Godfather Nate Milton, as well as the NBA Team Podcast and the TJ McClune Show. PTBN tackles pop culture and irreverence with Richard and the Mailman, the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, and if you like a hybrid of all of this in list form, check out Jordan Duncan's Rank and File. All of these shows are available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus tournaments and more. We want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island and Fall River, Massachusetts, and Scott Keats' Blog of Doom. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
This is Parv, and I'm here to tell you to listen and subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Only Place to Be Nation podcast network. That's the PWO PTBN podcast network, where you'll find a ton of in-depth shows done by hardcore fans. We've got Chris Zellner's 1-2 punch of Exile on Bad Street, and with David Bixenspan, a smash hit Between the Sheets. We've got Wrestling Culture with Dylan Hales and Dave Musgrave, Goodwill Wrestling and the reaction shows with Good Old Will from Texas. We got This Week in Wrestling with my man Pete and Johnny Sorrow, Stephen Graham and Tim Livingston's Pro Wrestling Super Show, Tag Teams Back Again with Kelly and Marty Sleaze, and a ton of other great shows too. And of course there's Titans of Wrestling and Where the Big Boys Play with yours truly and some dude from down south called Chad. PWO PTBN Podcast Network.
Okay, and we're back, and now we're kind of into the home stretch of the series here. Starting to have some changes to the lineup, to the cast. Issue 12 has the debut of Little Cheese.
In what might be one of the darker stories.
This was super dark. Really, really, really dark.
With the great cover. And I just, because Little Cheese, by the way, is obviously a new hero. And it's great fucking cover where all the Zoo crew have been defeated. And there's this new character, and he's looking right at you, and it's a muscular mouse. And in a superhero outfit, and Captain Carrot is just looking up. He's the only one up, and in the foreground you see like maybe the shadow, and it just says, "No, little cheese, you can't survive against Fat Cat," and it's as great a cover as anything else you've ever seen as far as debuting a character. It's amazing.
Yeah, great cover. Cool new character. He's a mouse, of course, that has the power to shrink.
Yes.
Hence the name. And
he has a Marvel origin.
Yeah, very, very much so. And I mean, with Roy Thomas being the original force behind this, and just I think we've talked about this before, how DC was kind of now infused with like the spirit of Marvel, with Marv Wolfman and Thomas coming over, and
with success,
but the style of Marvel storytelling was definitely like very prevalent now in DC. And well, in this one is a Marvel style story, and the character of Fat Cat is basically the Kingpin character from Marvel. And so basically what happens is that, Little Cheese is a basketball star for his high school team. And Fat Cat is the Kingpin, but he's also a gambler, so he's making money.
I always picture his voice as Sidney Greenstreet. Which is basically probably what he was thinking. I'm a sportsman, my boy. I like to gamble. I like to win.
Yes, totally. So Fat Cat wants Little Cheese to throw the big game, so that he'll clean up, because it would be a huge upset, of course. Little Cheese refuses, and then we get.
Okay, so here's what it is. His thugs pick up Chester.
Yes, Chester.
Chester Cheese, and take him to see Fat Cat. He tells him that he wants him to throw the game, and he punches him in the gut and tells him to go fuck himself. He comes home. Now, his father, they already established that his biggest fan is his dad, so there's no mom around. His dad's a scientist who went to the moon, and they brought back a piece of cosmic cheese from the moon. This is almost like Man-Wolf, which I think Gary Conway fucking created. And so he comes home after telling him to go fuck himself in a very dark bit of art where he's like, Dad, and he looks and you see just the shadow of foreground of the dad is dead. And, oh no, Dad, he's crying. There's blood. And in the shadows, you just see Fat Cat's smile and his eyes. And he thumps him and tosses him in this locked area where the cosmic cheese was. And he mentions that he was, starving. He eats it, which then gives him the superpower to shrink. Now, but he can't control it right. It's the big game. In the middle of the big game, he accidentally shrinks. They lose the game. And the giraffe with the afro, who talks in slang, curses him in comic book curse words. Yeah. Symbols. Like dumb motherfucking... star squiggly thing. Hashtag. And he then realizes that he's got to avenge his dad, and of course, has a costume out of nowhere, and he's Little Cheese, and he's enlisting the zoo crew to try to help him.
Yeah, so this establishes...
It's very Daredevil.
Yeah, that would be a good comparison. Well, this was when comics were starting to get darker, with the Daredevil comics and Marvel being maybe the darkest of them all. So this was, I guess you could say, was kind of I don't know if you want to say a parody, but it was. But I mean,
it was more of an homage.
Homage, yeah, that would
because
be
they took it totally seriously. They didn't abandon the jokes.
Yeah,
but it was serious.
Yeah.
The only thing they had to do is try to make that a fat gangster could possibly be a threat to the superpowered gang, which they did because he has a electrified Dr. Octopus type cat o' nine tails.
Yes.
Because he did winning the game was a distraction. He really wanted to get his father's research to sell it. It was a very layered story. It's quite good. It's quite good.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised reading this one a couple days ago how layered it was. It was it's one of the highlights of the whole run.
Oh, totally.
For sure. And Little Cheese will be back
for a minute
later on. Yeah. Next issue is Cold Turkey is the villain. This is kind of a fill-in between the next story or the next issue after this is a big one.
It's not good. In fact, in the letters, they're hyping the issue that's coming after it.
That's right. At the end of issue 12, they're hyping issue 14 more than they're hyping issue 13, which I thought was unusual.
The art's not that great. The villain is Cold Turkey. He's like a Captain Cold type guy. He has his snowbirds, which is right out of the Batman TV show. And it feels like, and it's drawn like one of the backup stories that is only 10 pages, but they stretch it out.
Yeah.
It probably was supposed to be one of those. Because a lot of the villains they created for those backup stories are real simple without a lot of motivation. And there's a lot of fucking shit where, well, did they catch him? No. They foil his plan. Did they catch him? No. At the end, they introduce a Scotty who's prospecting for gold and shit. And it's not good.
Yeah, I think they were basically just killing time here.
Totally.
Because Shaw was having trouble meeting deadlines. Basically, I'm assuming number 13 was supposed to be the first Just a Lot of Animals story, but they had to...
I love the pun on the name of a bad guy named Cold Turkey.
Right.
Who is Captain Cold. And again, great cover.
Yeah, great cover.
I feel like such a dork going, yes, the Cold Turkey issue didn't really live up to my expectation. Dummy. But as a kid, I felt that way. I was like, I didn't like
it. No, it's definitely it stands out as kind of a skippable issue in the group. It did have Bob Hope and Bing Crosby parody characters.
Oh yes, they did have Bob Hope as a bird.
Yeah.
Bird Hope.
Hoopo.
Yeah, it was a stretch.
Yeah. Bing Crossbill.
Bing Crossbill. And there was a Dorothy Lamour one, too.
Yeah, there was. They had like a brief scene from one of those.
Well, the Bob Hope character is entertaining the troops, and he has a flashback scene. It wasn't like this one. I started with these two, It was like... So even still, there's some good puns in there.
Yeah, and there's a Marx Brothers.
The Marx Brothers one, I remember liking it because I'm such a Marx Brothers. I am a Marx Brothers geek. I've read all the biographies. Even then, I was reading them then as a kid. I was obsessed with the Marx Brothers. And they do a full Marx Brothers thing where they need to go to a university, of course. And
that's right.
There's... That's great because they don't go with Groucho, Chico, and Harpo. They give them names like the characters would have in the movies. Like,
right.
And that part's kind of... It's again, I was like, I wish Shaw had drawn this. And that's how I felt.
Right. Yeah. No, there's some good stuff here, but yeah, this one you can skip. Because the next one is perhaps the biggest issue that they ever did, you could say.
Oh yeah.
It's the long-awaited crossover with the Just a Lot of Animals.
Crisis.
Crisis on Earth C. Yeah, this was, and actually it was the previous year, I guess it was, with the All-Star Squadron and Justice League of America.
Mm-hmm.
The big crossover we talked about couple episodes
that
ago.
we mentioned those covers, those iconic covers with the characters' headshots looking at what was going on in shock and dismay, and they do that. And I remember seeing this on the newsstand and marking out for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is so slick what they did there. And then they put like the creators on them.
At the bottom.
Scotty Shaw.
Yeah.
What was Roy Thomas? Oh gosh, he was a dog too.
Yeah, I could bring it up quickly here.
Oh, or Roy Tomcat or something like that.
Yes, it was Roy Tomcat.
Yeah.
E. Nelson Birdwell.
Birdwell, yes. Who they make fat and old with a flat top, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Duck Giordano. But yeah, it's a cool.
Explain the concept here, because it's classic DC Comics.
Right. So as we've established, Captain Carrot, Roger Rabbit, now Rodney Rabbit, is an illustrator for DC Comics, and his main comic is Just a Lot of Animals. And so I guess we can establish the team here. There are direct, Justice League character parodies. So you have Super Squirrel.
Yep.
Batmouse.
Batmouse is badass too.
Yeah, and they only show like a panel of this in the story, but they show him with Boyd the Robin Wonder.
Boyd the Robin Wonder. I love that gag.
That is the best pun name ever.
And they were fighting the porker.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid thinking, "Oh, I want to see I want to see like a whole story devoted to them."
Yeah, but
I was such a Batman fan.
Boyd the Robin Wonder is maybe the crowning jewel of the puns in this book.
It is the best pun name ever. We have Wonder Wabbit.
Wonder Wabbit. Oh, by the way. Oh.
Yes. And
who they mentioned that her boyfriend back on Earth C-.
Yes.
Is Steve, and not Steve Trevor, Steve Retriever.
That's a good one too. And of course, her and Captain Carrot hit it off.
Oh, they want to fuck right away.
Being rabbits, and it's hilarious how jealous Super Squirrel is.
Super Squirrel's jealous, but so is Ali Cadabra.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh boy, do Wonder Wabbit and Captain Carrot meet right away? Because they explain it at the end of it, where he's like, "I always thought she was just a figment of my imagination as the perfect woman for me, and now I know she's real, but unachievable." It's really good.
That was really touching, actually. We have the Crash.
The Crash is the Flash. Which again is a turtle.
Is a turtle, pretty much identical to Fastback.
All turtles get superpowers and they run fast.
Yes. Green Lambkin.
Which is number 2 of best puns. Is Green Lambkin.
And I love the look.
He looks awesome. But he's got like a big white afro. So, which Yankee Poodle does too. And they make jokes about how they have the same fucking hair. And Aqueduct, who's got a very strong chin.
Yes, yeah. So that rounds out the Just a Lot of Animals.
Oh, no. Because they show, those are the core members.
Oh, that's right. That's the core team. But then we get the extended team, just I believe like in one
shot.
One page.
Elongated Man is the Elongator. Firestorm is the best. Firestork.
Yes, that's right.
You've got Stacked Canary, which is the best. Because it's a canary, and she's got huge tits, and it's canary. Can't remember what Green Arrow is.
Green Sparrow.
Green Sparrow. Hawk Moose.
Hawk Moose. That's one of my favorite ones.
Red. Red Tornado was a goddamn anteater.
Yeah, that's right. Martian Man-Eater.
It was Martian Anteater. And Red Tornado was something else too. But it was one shot of they're on the satellite.
Yeah, the satellite.
Yeah, and it's so cool.
Yeah, that was the issue 14 is just full of cool little things.
Oh boy, is it ever when they're traveling through the dimensions?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's coming up too. That's actually the beginning of issue 50.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like wow. We also have Gardner F. Fox.
Yes.
Of course, the creator of he was the longtime writer of the Justice Society in the 40s, and then would be the first writer for the Justice League in the 60s. Gardner Fox.
Yeah, they play into the whole thing we've talked about before, where they explain the fact that on Earth 1, the Earth 2 Golden Age characters appeared in comic books because when Gardner Fox would sleep, he'd have dreams where it was connecting to this other dimension.
Yeah,
and they make jokes about that, like, "Oh, that's awfully convenient."
Yes, right. Because that was an actual story they did in the 60s, right?
Oh yeah, that was a long-term thing in DC. Saying that that's why they could write comic books. When they had Earth Prime, it's supposed to be our Earth. That was like Elliot S. Maggin and everyone could go to sleep and just go to another world and get ideas. So they make fun of that. But they're doing what they did. Every year, the JSA and the JLA would have a crisis and have a team up. And this was their version of that. And it always had villains teaming up for both Earths. They do that here. And you always had you always had the underling villains and the two from each Earth who were the main guys. And from Earth C is Feline Faust.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Hoot.
Yes, Dr. Hoot.
Who'd been already introduced as a side villain in one of the backup stories. But Dr. Hoot was one of their main villains. He's an owl, if you didn't figure that out already.
And, I mean, this paid off, like, being, a fan from day one, because the Just a Lot of Animals was referenced right from the beginning, so you knew eventually there would have to be a crossover, so it was really cool when this finally happened. And, unfortunately, this is, for Scott Shaw, this is it, though.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we'll wrap up the story before we get into that. Johnny referenced the different Earths that we get to see here. So at the beginning of issue 15, basically, we get to see like these different Earths. I forget exactly why.
Well, they're traveling between Earth C and Earth C minus, and Magic Wanda is acting up, and they keep showing up in different dimensions where you don't see them. You see the speech bubble going, "What's this?" And it's so great they didn't get sued, but you have the Crazy Cat world.
Yeah.
You have Pogo's Swamp.
Yeah, Pogo.
You have a cat chasing a mouse in Tom and Jerry, and he did explain they could not do an exact one. That was just amalgamation of that's the world where stuff like Mr. Jinx and Pixie and Dixie and Tom and Jerry exist. But Crazy Cat was drawn exactly like crazy, and Pogo Swamp. But what else was there? There was more.
Disney. There was a Disney.
There was a Disney one, yes.
Where it's like Mickey Mouse is retired.
He has a mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a mustache. Yeah, and he's just out walking about.
And then they said, "We got to get out of this world quick before we get sued."
Yeah. So that was a cool little touch. And of course, see what happens is Scott Shaw only illustrates the first, I think, 4 pages of issue 15.
Mm-hmm.
And that part was included in the first 4 pages. And then abruptly, he's gone. He basically, just couldn't meet the deadlines anymore. And the story...
He kind of flaked out.
Yeah. Do you know more about the whole story? Or?
I don't, and I was hoping you did, but the way they reference it is that, like, oh, now no one knows where he is.
Yeah, you got the feeling in like the letter columns in the subsequent issues that it wasn't like a really good parting of the ways, where you feel like they're kind of taking these shots at him a bit for taking off, because he's gone. Like he was responsible for the whole concept of the story, but he didn't finish the art for this. And then in subsequent issues, he's still credited as like
he has to be.
as the guy who came up with the ideas, but not the guy who actually scripted the stories. And then he's completely gone.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like you mentioned, he done underground. He worked in animation.
Mm-hmm.
Drawing at the level he was drawing for a monthly comic book, that's hard to do.
Yeah. Totally.
This wasn't bi-monthly. And I always got the impression that the pressure got to him. And we can see, and the great joke is, it's going to come up in some of the epilogue type of stuff, is even in stuff from relatively recently, where in Teen Titans they had these like Zoo Crew not flashbacks, where one character was reading a comic book, and it was a Zoo Crew comic book, and they showed these, and Scott Shaw, and they were only like 3 pages each, and Scott Shaw drew the first 2 and couldn't meet the deadline for the last one, and they had to get someone else to do those 3 pages.
Yeah.
Of that. He just couldn't do it.
No, well, he wasn't he was an artist,
right.
But he wasn't like a professional comic book
Not
artist.
Not at all.
So he didn't have that in his blood, or whatever you want to say, to be able to.
Well, when you have Duck Giordano breathing down your neck.
Yeah, and the guys who were doing gigs for DC, this was their lives. This is what they did for a living. Whereas he was kind of doing this as a side thing, it seemed like. And you could see it like a parallel later would be Kevin Smith when he gets into comics.
There you go.
And later on, the famous director who was notorious for not being able to meet the deadlines of the comic book world.
That's great. Who did great stuff, by the way.
Yeah, it did great stuff, but it was just unreliable. You just couldn't expect him to put out a comic book monthly. And when you're not completely committed to comic books, that's how it's going to be. So, but I don't know, I don't know too much of the specifics of the whole Scott Shaw story.
It always, like I said, by the way they explained it.
Yeah.
It always seemed to me like I always get this idea that he flaked out, lost his mind, and went to a desert island to just decompress.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, I do know that he continued to be very, heavily involved in animation and the cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons and stuff in the 80s. I do know that. So, but
that is a version that is a section of Hollywood where you have deadlines, but it's a lot different.
Right.
This was, we gotta, I need drawings right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Sent to the inker so he can ink them. Oh wait, you ink your own stuff? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's even George Perez every now and then had to have a fill-in.
Yeah.
When you have guys working that detailed style, but Shaw just couldn't handle a monthly book.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it now. But as a kid, it pissed me off, but I totally get it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough because it was a very much a labor of love type project that just didn't mesh with the harsh deadlines, I guess.
And I don't know this for a fact, but I'm thinking, despite an initial buzz on it, sales were not as good as they want. I mean, there was talk at one point, we're gonna have a Saturday morning cartoon,
right?
And that didn't happen. And I'm glad it didn't, because imagine that, every pun would have been gone, and they would have had a picture funny animals who are gonna have some sort of funny animal wacky sidekick.
Yeah,
like all Saturday morning cartoons had to have at the time,
Yeah.
So, but I remember I read that, like, we're working on a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, oh, that's awesome. Looking back, I was like, wait, I remember the Saturday morning cartoons of the 80s that I loved. They're unwatchable.
Yeah,
Except for Thundar the Barbarian and Flash Gordon.
It probably wouldn't have translated too well. And no, I don't think it was selling too particularly well.
Yeah, it had an initial buzz, but it was. And I'm not going to blame it on Shaw.
Right.
But what we're getting towards now with tons of solo fill-in shit certainly didn't help.
No, and it's a great book, but at the time it didn't really fit with the mood and the way that comics were going. We touched on the more violent comics. Comics were getting more serious, and this was, a funny animal book, even though it had the serious side.
Although I will mention this in the letters column, someone did the whole this is so original and so brave. The competition's not going to do anything like this, meaning Marvel, and they just had a nice thing of, I think you'll be surprised. I think they're gonna, because they did.
Yes,
and that was true. Spider-Ham.
And that lasted for a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, but Marvel in no way would have done Spider-Ham if Captain Carrot hadn't had buzz.
Yeah, that's probably true. And Marvel actually did a whole line of kids comics.
Star Comics,
yeah.
Yeah, they all stunk except for Spider-Ham.
Top Dog.
And,
the Muppet Babies.
But there's the original Muppet Babies, okay, but they had original ones that were just like
and they got the rights
ripoffs.
They got the rights to Heathcliff.
Smurfs. They got Smurfs.
Yeah.
I remember buying 3 copies of Smurfs #1 because Smurfs were so huge, so popular. I was like, this is guaranteed to be worth money. I'm not going to read this. It was the only comic book I ever immediately put in a Mylar bag, or a plastic bag. Mylar was expensive. I just went for the.
Yeah.
They were for comics, but they weren't Mylar. And because I thought Smurfs was going to be worth a ton of money. Little did I know.
Oh, well.
Fucking Nazis.
So, yeah, it's basically the end of an era here. And it comes to a very abrupt finish. We didn't even get the finish of the 15th issue because, Shaw's gone after only 4 pages. The last few books, number 20 is the last issue.
Well, before we get to that, there's a bunch of solo story things. But they do find an artist. And they have an issue that is like, oh, it can come back. And I didn't realize until I reread it. Because Rick Hoberg, who had done a few fill-ins, is now going to be apparently the DC workhorse was Rick Hoberg, because he was doing All-Star Squadron and
that's right.
A few other books. And he mimicked Shaw's style with his own twist. and it was good. And they did that one issue with the Return of Frogzilla that Hoberg did. That was really funny, great puns, and the art was really good. He did it was in one of the ones where they had like the solo ones, where Pig Iron goes to Transylvania and fights Frankenstein Pig, which the fight scenes in that and the way the Frankenstein Pig was drawn could have been out of any serious comic book. Really good, but it was too little, too late. You know. But they did find someone who could match Shaw in Rick Hobart.
Yeah, that's true. I have fond memories of those issues. And I loved the Frankenstein.
Oh, that was so good. The battle they had.
Yeah, that one I remember more than most of the Captain Carrot stories for sure. It has the news squeak cover.
News squeak, yes. The covers were still awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And as a kid, I didn't know that there was anything wrong. I didn't know anything was going on behind the scenes. I just thought it was business as usual. And
I was old enough to know that this wasn't a good thing. I knew what was going on.
Right. Yeah. But I didn't. So all I knew is it just ended abruptly after issue 20. And 20 has a guest appearance by Changeling from the New Teen Titans,
who they shit on, by the way, because it says, okay, fine, we sold out.
Yeah.
A New Teen Titan is in this issue. It's just the Changeling, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And the villain
I like that.
is Grodd.
That's right.
Which, if you think about it, is a nice little way to wrap it up, since the first villain was an actual DC villain, Starro, who was a starfish. The last one is Grodd, who's an ape.
Yeah, that's actually really good point.
And Little Cheese is in it, and he becomes a member of the team. They defeat Grodd, but there's a little teaser where Grodd is looking in some interdimensional portal, and he's saying to a character, and he says the name, and it says, "We still have our deal. If this doesn't work out, I can come to your dimension." Yes, Grodd. And of course, it doesn't work out. He ends up in limbo, which is funny because I was still buying The Flash.
Yeah.
Which was, at the time, deadly serious. Carmine Infantino was doing the art. Whoever was writing it. It was like, as fun as the Flash comic book could be, it wasn't fun. It was really, really serious. And Grodd is in this interdimensional thing. They never mentioned, how'd you get here? A rabbit in a superhero suit sent me here.
Right. Oh, so there is a tie-in. Yeah. Carrie Bates was writing The Flash then. It was the whole the trial of Barry Allen.
The trial of Barry Allen, that whole thing. That was great comics. Great comics. When he kills Zoom. He's going to marry Fiona. I remember that character. These were great books. But then they tease at the end, and they say, well, it's over, but we had this great idea we were going to do. And we're going to release it as a miniseries. And it didn't happen until 1986, because the book was now done. The character who Grodd was talking to is the Gnome King from the Oz books.
Right.
Because then they tease that the next thing to come, and wait for it, kids, is Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew in the Oz Wonderland War. And then nothing until apparently 1986. By the time I was done, I remember reading that and going, the Oz Wonderland War? That sounds like the coolest fucking concept I've ever seen. Ever. And they were done and drawn as 6 issues of Captain Carrot. At least they put them as 3 issues. That's why in the middle of each one, gives an ending, and it continues.
Right.
Didn't know if you were going to go into those or not.
Yeah. No, I definitely wanted to touch on them because that's where it continues. Yeah. So after issue 20, the series is canceled. The plan was to do like actually a series of mini-series going forward, but only one ever was released, and it was the Oz Wonderland War, and it didn't come.
You think maybe there's a way to get Shaw back saying, look, if we just do a series of mini-series.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Something he could commit to, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was 2+ years after the cancellation that it finally was released. At the time, I don't remember it being... I want to say it was more of like a comic store exclusive type thing.
Oh, it probably was.
Yeah, because it was 52 pages. Yeah, just a 3-part series. I think it really was released totally under the radar.
It was, because like I said, I was out of comics by that time.
Yeah.
And I remember years later when I got back into comics, I heard that it actually existed. And then I found it even more years later in like a bargain bin, either at a flea market or a comic book store. Bought like all 3 issues and devoured them, because not only am I a huge fan of Captain Carrot, obviously, but I'm a Oz geek. I read all the Oz books. Wow. I mean, the movie, of course, was one of the things that shaped my entire identity as a child, and that's what first gets you into it. But when I was like around the same age, or maybe a little younger, I discovered the books. There's like 17 or something.
Yeah,
Oz
there's
books
a lot
that L. Frank Baum wrote, and I read them all when I was 10, 11, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fantastic and wild as fuck. And the art in these is, number one, they sort of bait and switch you, because you thought it was going to be, there's a war between Oz and Wonderland. Mm-hmm. That's not what it is. It's Oz and Wonderland are teaming up. The Gnome King has taken over Oz, and they've retreated to Wonderland, where the Wonderland people are backing them up. But within the great Captain Carrot art, the art of all the other characters, the Oz characters, is an exact replica of the artists who drew in those original Baum books, and the artists who drew in the original Lewis Carroll books. And it's fucking tremendous.
Yeah.
It's so good. So good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't read them. I just skimmed through them, but the art is amazing.
Well, yeah. Well, do yourself a favor. Read them. They're good. But the art is the fact that DC let that go under the fucking radar is a shame, because the woman's name is Susan Kay, and she took over the art, and she did all of it. She'd been doing inking and stuff on the book, and she drew all the Captain Carrot characters looked like Scott Shaw, and everything else, and makes it all meld together. And I mean, the only criticism of it is the plot is the same as the book Ozma of Oz, which apparently probably no one has read.
Probably not.
Probably since 1920, except me, and a handful of people. But it's so good. It's so good. Highly recommend it. But then stuff that I wasn't quite aware of. When we were getting towards, I guess, Final Crisis and stuff, where was the end of my second renaissance of being into comic books, was right around this time, and I've not gone back. And these were new.
Yeah. Firstly, we have, I guess it was like a mini story that was taking place in the Teen Titans.
Yes, Kid Devil is reading these.
Oh, I see. Okay. So this was in early 2006. It's basically a parody of like the Identity Crisis story.
Yeah,
that was
yes, and
very popular at the time. Yeah, like the very dark stories that had begun to become prominent in DC around that time.
So the gist is, Zoo Crew's disbanded. By order of the government, Mallard Fillmore is a crooked president.
Yeah.
Pig Iron and Rubber Duck are acting as vigilantes, wanted by the law. Yankee Poodle has been framed and her identity revealed and is on the run. Abracadabra is a successful entertainer. Captain Carrot is in retirement and drinks too much because Carrie Carrot, a character who's only there, was killed in an attack from Armadillo and Frogzilla. And he felt himself responsible and has never become Captain Carrot again. And it opens with them finding Little Cheese murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And a character named American Eagle who's watching this. And then it's just 2 pages, 3 pages.
Yeah.
The next one is American Eagle finding Rodney Rabbit and bullying him into eating his fucking carrot and being a fucking man or rabbit or whatever. And they go out and it all ends up. And Fastback has been sent into the future, because he's too powerful.
Right.
And it ends up, the thing is that it was all Alicadabra had sold out to Mallard Fillmore and framed Yankee Poodle. And she was the one who killed Little Cheese, and they're taking her away. And she's like, cats hate mice.
Yeah. Why did you do it? Well, duh. Cats hate mice.
And it's all real dark. But here's the thing. Like I mentioned, the first 2 chapters of this, which are only 2 pages, are Scott Shaw. And the last one is not. And these were fill-ins of 2 pages. He couldn't fucking do it.
He couldn't do it. But he did finish, or he did do one last series.
He did. And
the final arc.
Yep. Where they reveal the Alicadabra in question was an evil twin from an alternate dimension.
Right. It was her, doppelganger, evil doppelganger that killed Little Cheese. So, of course, Alley Cat's not a killer. This series, it was 3 issues. It came out in late 2007. A lot of in-jokes, comic book industry in-jokes scattered throughout. I skimmed through it. I didn't really...
I loved it, but I read it like months ago when you first sent me it. But it's a crisis thing, and the Earth is ending, and just a lot of animals come up, and they come up with a space arc,
right,
to rescue as many people as they can, or animal people as they can.
Right,
and,
of course.
It was during Final Crisis.
Yes,
and I had already tapped out by Final Crisis. Of comic books.
Yeah, me too.
And it was I just moved out here, and it was too expensive, and there was no comic book shop that I could go to that was nearby. Because that's one of the sad things. I can't go to the 7-Eleven and buy fucking comic books. I got to go to a comic book shop, and if there's no market for it, it's hard to find comic book shops. And I hadn't figured out this whole digital thing.
Yeah,
but they end up going through a portal to Earth 1 or whatever the fuck it is. Mm-hmm. And all the animals become real animals.
Right.
Where Zatanna takes Captain Carrot and says, I'm going to put him in my act.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've since then regressed that, and he's become Captain Carrot again. And there's a team of heroes in DC who exist outside of the multiverse, who are in charge from all over, who are in charge of, doing like godlike stuff, and Captain Carrot's one of them.
Yeah, I read a little bit that there's still a few references here and there. Apparently, like Captain Carrot and the Amazing Zuko are like a famous cartoon in the DC universe. Basically, that's referenced every once in a while. Like you'll see it on a TV or something like that, or in the background of a scene or something like that.
And what that speaks to is this series lasted 20 issues in the early 80s, but it was at a huge creative peak for DC Comics.
Yeah.
And enough of it was so good and fun that a generation of creators were reading it. And that's why it still exists in one form or another in the modern DC universe, be it as like, it's a cartoon we watch or what have you. It's managed to stay around. It's met the test of time.
Yeah.
They could have just immediately just never mentioned it, but enough people have a love for it. Which makes me, I didn't realize that until I did a little research myself. I was like, oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, it left an impact. It was a cool thing. And it was just very well done comic book.
It was a great experiment that didn't succeed all the way, but when it did succeed, it was brilliant.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's comics like this that I miss. Like this is, it's not tied to any trends really or anything like that. It was just, pure.
Like I said, it was a neat period where DC was, with the exception of Teen Titans, pretty much DC was just not cool. Not cool, and they were doing everything they could to be cool.
Yep.
And you'll find when creative people are given free license to try whatever the fuck, throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, you're gonna get a lot of great stuff like this All-Star Squadron. Let's face it, we did All-Star Squadron. It was great for a while, but towards the end it just petered out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
totally.
there was a lot of great DC stuff. Camelot 3000. And
Ronin, yeah. And they got Frank Miller. Yeah.
That Frank Miller Ronin series and shit, The Ambush Bug miniseries came out around these times, which were amazing. I'd love to talk about those sometime.
Right. Yeah, no, I have a real affinity for this era of DC. I love
Me too.
pre-crisis on Infinite Earths. 1980 to 1985 DC is one of my favorite eras.
Looking back, it's full of great comic books.
It is. Yeah, because they were trying new things. They brought in new talent. Everything was kind of up in the air, and they put out a lot of great stuff. It's an era that needs to be appreciate a lot more.
I think that's what we do, sir.
Yeah, this is our job. We've sort of become the unofficial show for this era. We both love it, and we'll definitely return to it again. All right, well that basically wraps up Captain Carrot and his Amazing Zoo Crew. Next time, though, we're gonna leave behind early 80s DC, but we're headed to an even more obscure corner, I think, of the comic book universe. Johnny, do you want to this is your baby, this is your your childhood favorite comic book, basically.
Are we talking about a certain sergeant?
Yes, we are.
Sergeant Fury and his howling goddamn commandos. Now, something forgotten until the Marvel movies actually made it relevant again.
Yeah.
The greatest thing about the first Captain America movie was, wait, what? They're doing it. Oh, that's why I fell in love with it. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. One of the greatest comic books that's ever existed. That was a huge hit during the boom of the Marvel Age of Comics that no one talks about at all. I mentioned Sergeant Rock before. Was Sergeant Rock serious? Yes. Was Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos serious? Yes, but it never treated itself like it wasn't serious. But it's the most bonkers World War II comic book of all time, and I adore it. And I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm excited now because, I've only ever encountered a handful of Sergeant Furies over the years, but your enthusiasm for it has really got me excited, and I was able to, of course, obtain the whole run online. So here we go. It's, next time will be Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. Look out for it, fans.
Wahoo!
Wahoo! So one final thing to leave you as we part. This is a quote from it was issue 12 of Captain Carrot and his Amazing Zoo Crew, and the quote goes, "What's this then? A dream? A hoax? Or an imaginary story?" Good night, everybody.
This world is big and wild and half insane. Take me where real animals are playing. Just a dirty old shack with a hand of bark that we called our home. I wanna be back there among the cats and dogs and the pigs and the goats on Animal Farm, my animal home. On Animal Farm, my animal home. While I lay my head upon my pillow, little girl could play beneath my window. Though she's far from home, she is free from harm, and she need not fear. She is by my side, and the sky is wide, so let the sun shine bright on Animal Farm, my animal home. On Animal Farm, my animal home. Girl, it's a hard, hard world if it gets you down. Dreams often fade and die in a bad, bad world. I'll take you where real animals are playing.